Owen Benjamin is a comedian with some very strident points of view on a variety of topics. Now, we've looked at him before in the days where his YouTube channel was still active. However, he has since resurfaced on David Weiss's YouTube channel, DITRH, and he's going in hard on the moon landing. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, MyHeritage DNA. MyHeritage is the #1 family history and DNA service in Europe and makes exploring your family history easier than ever. It's fun and easy to discover your origins, and you might even find new relatives. When my DNA test arrived, all I had to do was activate it on my computer, swab each of my cheeks for 30 seconds and insert the swabs into vials. Then I placed the vial in a plastic bag and inserted it into the enclosed envelope before mailing it to the lab. It really was simple as that. And in 3 to 4 weeks, you get your results. Now, I've got my results here, and this is actually the first time. I've waited till I've recorded this video. It's the first time that I've seen the results. So here we go. I know from my granddad that he had German in him. That's all I know. So let's see what they say. Here we go. 66% English, not a surprise. 33% Scandinavian. 33% Scandinavian, okay. And 0.8% Central Asian. Very weird, okay. Well, there we go. 66% English, 33% Scandinavian. It says Southeastern and Eastern England, so that's pretty much bang on, Southeastern. No German though. Very interesting. Was my granddad lying? I have to look into that a bit more. MyHeritage has committed in its privacy policy to never sell or license any genetic data. You will be the sole owner of your DNA data. Click the link in the description to order your DNA test kit today and use the code MANDAN to get free shipping. As an added bonus, you can start a 30-day free trial for MyHeritage Best Subscription for Family Research and enjoy a 50% discount if you decide to continue with it. Right, back to today's video where Owen Benjamin is ranting about the moon landing. Now, he obviously thinks that he is completely correct, but unfortunately, he's deep into a Dunning-Kruger bender like you would not believe. Brace yourselves, people. Here we go.
No one went to the moon. It's the same thing with like Kherson and Ukraine and the Donbass and Russia and stuff. Like, he's in Ukraine. He's like, the shit you people are saying about Ukraine is not true. I'll debate any of you on it. I'm the same way with the moon landing. He might not have looked into it. I have. No one went to the moon.
Oh, he's looked into it, guys. It's fine. Don't worry. No one went to the moon because Owen has looked into it. Behave.
And so it doesn't make me an idiot. It makes me smart. And, you know, if anybody ever wants to debate me on that, like I did, Harrison Smith on InfoWars was the only person to ever publicly debate me on it because he was like, no, we definitely went to the moon. Most people won't debate you because they know they'll lose.
I know plenty of people that would debate you, Owen, on the moon landing, all of which would thoroughly crush you. simondan@gmail.com if you want to arrange one.
The moon landing is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It's like retarded. So the one thing in the last 60 years where technology not only did not advance, it went backward and they destroyed it. And there's no way they can go back. And even though there'd be like infinite commercial opportunities for Michael Jackson to do a concert on the moon or a military implication, they just can't go back because they destroyed the technology and it's way too hard to bring it back.
Budget cuts will do that, Owen. NASA's budget was more than 2% of the whole federal budget back in 1969. Last year, 2021, it was only 0.48% of the full budget.
So anyway, so when I debated Harrison Smith, his conclusion was his only winnable point after I annihilated him was why does it even matter?
Oh, it matters, definitely. And he couldn't have been that good if that was his only winnable point.
So the one time someone could debate me on it, I liked him at the time, and then he became a gamma and talked a lot of shit. But I got him to the point where his only argument was, why does it matter? $58 million a day. People's entire worldview. a distorted view of all of reality. It matters. Okay, if you look at what time in human history as an explorer went somewhere, they came home, it sounded incredible, like you could fly and jump really high and all this, and no one followed them.
Well, they did. NASA sent another 6 missions to the moon, all of which, except for Apollo 13, made it.
Oh no, there's another Apollo, come on. After the early 70s, no one went back. They're like, no. Does that ever happen in exploration? When in technology has it ever happened where there's been a technology advance, you're capable of doing something, then you destroy it, and it doesn't advance, and you never do that again?
We are talking about something which is incredibly hard to do. This isn't just a technological advancement here on Earth that can be developed and invested in with very few physical limitations. This is sending people to the moon, a rock in space that is 385,000 kilometers away with all the limitations involved. The Saturn V rocket cost $6 billion back then to build. In today's money, that's $66 billion. Now, that's just to build it, let alone launch the thing. NASA's budget last year was $23 billion. So yeah, do the maths, Owen, and then realise how hard it actually is.
Okay, they also, NASA, according to NASA, the proof they went to the moon, they destroyed the telemetry data. Why did they do that? Their official answer is they had budgetary problems in the 70s and 80s, and they taped over the proof that they went to the moon.
Well, the telemetry data isn't lost, is it? We still have it, but NASA did delete the raw footage on the original tapes. There are still plenty of copies going around, so your argument here is non-existent.
If you look at the Apollo lander, it appears to be a meth head's tree fort that he made with garbage he found behind a dumpster. Okay?
Just looking like that does not mean it was fake, does it? That's not evidence. That's your opinion.
If you put that into the vacuum that they claim exists, it would not be possible at all. You need 7 feet of lead to contain that type of vacuum if you have a pressurized chamber.
Owen is talking about here what you would require on Earth if you have an enormous atmosphere pushing down on your vacuum chamber. No such protection is needed up in space where there is no atmosphere involved. Another fail here, Owen.
Okay, so out of one side of their mouth, Neil Armstrong and his ilk say that they got to the moon with less technology than an iPhone, and all the college girls slack-jawed and the homosexuals, they all clap like little seals. Homosexuals?
I get it. You're a homophobe as well. Thanks for confirming that one, Owen.
And then out of the other side of their mouth, they say we don't have the technology and it's too painful to bring back.
Yes, the Saturn V rocket, although as we speak, NASA do have a new launch system. And the Artemis mission is due to go back, but you can see how hard it is because that mission has had 2 scrubbed launches already.
They'll show you their suits, their hand-stitched suits. Like, it's all retarded. How did they do it? Okay, Gonzalo Lira might know about photography. I know about television broadcasting. I know about liars. How do you broadcast live from the moon with no batteries?
Well, they did have batteries. The lunar lander was powered with silver zinc batteries. They sent the signal from an antenna on the lander to satellites in Earth's orbit via radio waves, and then on to Honeysuckle Creek Tracking Station in Australia and Goldstone Observatory in California. Simple.
If you go to a TV station, I've done a million morning radio, morning TV. You know, good morning, Dallas, it's Gary and Terry. I used to do all that when I toured. You'd have giant transformers and giant dishes just to go like 50 miles. So you're telling me 240,000 miles away through the vacuum of space and the Van Allen radiation belt, you have something that looks like it was put together by a meth head behind a dumpster, okay? And 3 Freemasons playing golf with no ability, like they had to measure their water and their syrup that they're eating because weight is such a problem with thrust and all this nonsense.
So Owen doesn't subscribe to physics then? You can guarantee that if they didn't mention this, then they'd be like, oh, how did they take off from the moon with all that gear on board?
So where's the batteries? How do you keep the batteries cool when it's positive 200 in the sun and negative 200 at night?
There is a difference between heat and temperature, Owen. As there is no atmosphere on the moon, the only way for those batteries to get warm is if they were exposed to direct sunlight, which they were not.
See, the problem with liars is they lie in one direction to get a lot of acclaim and everyone to think they're space cowboys and so brave and they have grit and all that. And then they lie the other direction and say that, you know, and they want to be like super technical and it's so advanced and you couldn't possibly do it again. Their bragging undoes their entire story.
Only to Dunning-Kruger wannabes like yourself, Owen. The rest of us get it.
So you're telling me you went up there without any real machinery. So how did you keep it cool in the day and warm at night? You know, okay, here's a basic one for Gonzalo Weir. And bear in mind, I like his stream. This is originally just an example of how to listen to somebody and not react, but I'm finding it very interesting. When the astronauts left space, who panned up the camera? If Gonzalo Weir knows so much about cinematography, how did they pan up? And then how did they get the photographic equipment onto did they just leave the guy that panned up and all the equipment there for the next round? But it was being broadcast live. Okay, it's so stupid, guys. It's so stupid.
I'm glad you went full incredulity mode on this one, Owen. So the camera that panned up was actually controlled from Earth. And the operator at NASA even did it 2 seconds early to take into account the 2-second delay of the signal as they knew it was live. Is that okay for you, Owen?
I was watching Gonzalo say his proof is that those pictures could only have been taken on the moon. They could not have been taken on Earth. Any evidence, Gonzalo? Like, want to talk about undercutting your credibility? It's like, so you've done experiments taking pictures on the moon? How could those pictures have only been taken on the moon? Like, that's so stupid.
Okay, I concede here. It probably was possible back then to take photos that looked like they were on the moon. Of course. But that is not evidence in itself that they were faked. Bloody hell, Owen. If this is the best you've got, people will be rubbing their hands in anticipation at the thought of debating you. Dear, oh dear.
Oh my God. And then you get into flat Earth and people think you're just bonkers. And then you just say 8 inches per mile squared. That's the curve of the Earth. Okay? Allegedly. How do you have a lighthouse that's 40 feet high being seen by a ship that's 50 miles away? That's not even close to possible.
Oh dear, he's really fallen off the deep end, doesn't he? Right, let's wrap that up for another Tinfoil Tuesday. We are all done and dusted, people, for another episode. Thank you so much for watching. It truly is appreciated. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. Please do subscribe. If you haven't done so yet, please do. And of course, if you really enjoyed it today, hit that like button and share it if the feeling takes you. Just enough time to once again thank MyHeritage DNA for sponsoring today. Remember, to get your DNA test kit, click the link in the description and use the code MANDAN for free shipping. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great week, and I'll see you all on Friday for the return of Mushella and her ISS proof videos. See you then.